Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Camp Jayhawk 2023 info session number 1. We're going to go ahead and get this going. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat, and we will answer them. If you are watching this as a recording, thank you for watching, and we are going to go ahead and get to going. So, I am Nathan Bossaldua. I am the camp director for the 2023 camping season.
And I'm Josh Evans, the program director.
And I'm Brendan Felt, camp commissioner.
Great. Alrighty. So, we're going to just go a little bit of an intro here for just some promotions and stuff before we get started into information. So, Josh, if you want to talk.
So yeah, this not related to summer camp, but we got our National Youth Leadership Training course coming up May 28th through June 2nd. For those who don't know, NYLT is the premier youth leadership training course. It's a council or nationally recognized training, but it's offered at the council level. So we're going to have a course right here at Valley Scout Reservation, and registration for that is open. So go sign up now.
Okay. Next up is our Cub Scout information. We have chosen a theme of making camp life bright, and the dates and registration are up on the webpage, which we'll get here to in a second. More details are soon to come out about that in the meantime. So we do have the Camp Jayhawk webpage on the council website. So that is www.jayhawkcouncil.org/Camp Jayhawk. And so now we are going to be getting into our leader guide and program guide. So this is what the majority of the bulk of the information we're going to be going over. It went live on February 1st at the same webpage right there. So we will be going over the leader guide, which will have FSR information, camp dates and fees and accommodations, whereas the program guide is going to have merit badge schedule, merit badge prereqs, check-in, check-out, and cook-off information. So both of those are on the website currently, and there is an option that you can download both of them in one PDF, and we're calling it the Scoutmaster Bundle. So at the bottom of the website, there are buttons to download all three, either the leader guide, either the program guide, or the Scoutmaster Bundle. So without further ado, we are going to be getting into the leader guide review at first. So if you want to follow along, it is structured the same as the document. And we will just be going down the list. And once we hit a big major section, we'll take a little break and we will see if there's any questions. Give it a minute. If there is no questions, we'll move on. If there is, we'll answer them. So the first thing is the 2023 dates for the Scouts BSA sessions are the session 1 will be on June 11th through June 17th. Session 2 will be June 18th through the 24th. Scouts BSA Session 3 will be July 9th through the 15th. And our High Adventure Week will be July 16th through the 22nd. Moving right along. Camp fees and payments. I know this is, if you're watching on a phone, this might be a little hard to see, but I'll just read it over. When you're registering for camp, the first thing that you have to do is a campsite deposit. This is $250 to basically reserve your campsite for your unit. And there's more information on that on the next slide. There are 2 different types of registration types for scouts, individual scouts. So after you place that deposit, your troop can then go and pay for scouts. 3. There's 3 different types. First is the new scout of $225. The early bird scout reservation is $275, and the regular scout price is $325. So the early bird scout, that is any scout that isn't a first-year scout, that registration cutoff will be April 15th. And the payment must be made full by April 15th. The regular scout price, if you're going to session 1, that deadline to pay for your scout to go is June 1st. Session 2 deadline is June 9th, and session 3 deadline is June 30th. And like I said, we'll get into the new scout on the next slide. The first 2 leaders are also there, and then so after your first 2 leaders are registered, each leader after that will be $100, and the session deadlines are the same, with 1 being the 1st, session 2 being June 9th, and session 3 being June 30th. So the campsite deposit is due when making the campsite reservation. This fee is to actually cover the 2 first leaders. So when you make your campsite deposit, the first 2 leaders that are to register for camp that's their fee to pay for. And so while this fee does guarantee your campsite, if your unit doesn't fill the max capacity of the campsite, there might be a unit that joins with you. So that's just depending upon how big your unit is. And then the new scout price, the $225, only applies to those scouts who joined your unit on or after the 1st of this year. So that fee will be the same up until the registration deadline for each session. This applies to scouts registered within our council, Jayhawk Area Council. Okay. So then provisional opportunities. For those scouts, it's for those scouts who are unable to attend summer camp with their troop. This is what we call an all-star troop. So an individual scout may be unavailable to go to summer camp with their unit due to scheduling or other conflicts. Camp Jayhawk is providing the opportunity for these scouts to have a full summer camp experience as part of our all-star troop. This program is not intended to replace the traditional summer camp unit experience. This is for those who just may have some like sports scheduling or other conflicts when their troop goes to camp. But the pricing for the all-star campers follows the same structure as the unit individual pricing stated before. Okay, and we're just going to keep moving on. There's a break here in just a second in case you have any questions. Camperships. There are a limited amount of camperships available, but there is a campership request form in the leader guide under supporting documents, and this has to be turned into the scout office in Topeka by no later than March 1st. Applications that are submitted after that will be put on a wait list. So get those camperships forms in as soon as possible before March 1st. And then the cancellation and refund policy. So all refund requests must be submitted to the council program director at the scout office by completing the refund request form, and that is also in the supporting documents. The terms and conditions are on the screen now, and it's just a copy of your receipt, must be attached. This information is in the leader guide, so I'll just kind of go over some of this briefly. I won't go over all of it. So it just has to be refunds. Only refunds received 30 days prior to the event will be considered for a full refund, and event fees are not non-refundable for homesickness, scheduling conflicts, and other stuff like that. So no refunds will be issued from early departures from camp as well. Next is the camp contact information. It's just if you want to either send your scouts mail during the camp season, there's the camp office phone number, and there's the camp ranger phone number. Like I said, this is all in the leader guide, and this is just if you had any questions. But that is the general information, and before we move on to preparing for camp, we're going to take a minute in case there is any questions. Brendan, is there any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
But Chris does say hello.
Oh, hello. Hello, Chris. And you guys can interject at any point too if
Wait.
Okay. Okay.
Time is coming.
Okay. So we are going to then keep moving on for preparing for camp. And here we go. So camp leadership. each unit must always have at least 2 registered adults, which is 21 years or over, present at all times during camp. If there are any youth females in the unit, at least one of those adult leaders has to be a female, and this is vice versa for males. So if there's a all-male unit, there has to be at least one male unit leader. And if unit leadership changes during the camp, the departing leader must remain on camp until one is there to replace them. So there always has to be 2 leaders within your unit at all times on camp. And those replacement leaders, they have to go through the same check-in process that everybody has to go through. And Josh will get into the check-in process a little bit later. So I think that's that for that. So health forms. Every scout attending camp, they have to have their health form complete, which is part A, B, and C. It is required to be on camp for the session. If there are only guests that are staying the day, if there is any unit leader that is only being replaced for one night, then they have to only have A and B, but C would also be appreciated. And this has to, all of the med forms will be checked by the camp health officer. And the part C is basically a physical, which you have to get signed by a healthcare provider. And our camp medic cannot do those. So make sure it is important to have A, B, and C all completed before you get on camp. And that is, the only other thing about that is the health form expires a year after the last last physical was issued. So if you got yours on June 8th of 2022, then it'll expire June rather than the first of the year. The insurance, all scouts and scouters registered in the Jayhawk Area Council are covered by year-round accident insurance policy as a part of the council service to our membership. Units from other councils must provide the insurance policy number to the camp at least 2 weeks prior to arrival at camp for coverage to be in effect. All accidents and illnesses must be reported to the health lodge and recorded in the health lodge book on our part. The special conditions, I'll just list them off. They're in the leader guide, but I'll just do it really quickly. Injuries or illness sustained prior to arriving camp requiring attention during your stay are not covered. Every injury or illness must be reported to the health lodge immediately to be covered. Medical expenses incurred after camp because of illness or injury sustained at camp are covered, but they must be reported to the council office for clearance with the insurance provider. Out-of-council units should check with their home council office to determine plan limits, and unregistered youth, adults, and visitors are not covered by our insurance. So, this is just more preparing for camp. If your unit decides that they want to take their swim tests before they get out to camp, that is okay. You just need to basically bring the form, a complete form of the pre-camp swim test, which is in the supporting documents as well. And this requires a camp school certified aquatics director or an adult certified through the Red Cross. American Red Cross can administer the swim test, and swim tests have to be repeated every 12 months. So if your unit didn't do a swim test and it wasn't recorded within the last year, then you're either A, going to have to do it before you come out to camp again, or B, you can do the swim test out here. Basically, the main thing that we want to make sure that you are telling your scouts is that please communicate to them that we have a lake and not a swimming pool, because that is a common misconception for people who have not been out here before. Alrighty? Merit badge tracking. Will you go over merit badge tracking? No? Okay, great. So, we are going to be utilizing the blue card system, which is the written form, which is the official written form of how we keep track of our merit badges. Scouts need to be responsible for their own blue card for each merit badge class. So Scoutmasters will be given individual Scouts blue cards and a master copy of all of them in your checkout packet. So you're going to want to make sure that you're going to have that blue cards. Oh, sorry, man, I don't know what's happening here. But yes, you're going to want to make sure that each one of your scouts has blue cards. So that is the main gist of that. This allows us to keep more accurate report. Yep. So, moving on.
On the
Oh.
merit badge tracking, that also goes for some of our other programs. They won't follow the blue cards, but you'll basically be getting a sheet of paper or multiple sheets of paper saying what they accomplished that week. And I'll get into some of those things when I start talking in the program guide.
Yes.
Anything I have for a quick question about blue cards?
Oh, yeah, what's up?
So units are expected to bring their own blue cards.
Yes.
We are not providing blue cards.
That is
unless
correct.
necessary.
Yes, that is correct. Unless necessary, we will not be providing blue cards. So make sure it is important that your unit does bring their own blue cards. And also, just on the topic of just tracking progress and everything, the Baden-Powell program and the Project First Class program, you will receive a report detailing all of the stuff that they've done to achieve their ranks, and it'll be up to you, the unit leader, to sign off on the scout rank requirements. So, arrival. Units, you will be sent a scheduled arrival time at the least of 2 weeks prior to your arrival date, and this will be through whoever's contact information is on the registration. And so make sure that as we approach summer camp, you're keeping an eye out for that, because you'll receive an email with your scheduled arrival date or arrival time on your date that you arrive. So upon arrival, we ask that you just have all of the health forms, the program waivers, early departure forms, if any, are ready to turn in when you come to camp, and I will be your first station, and I'll take all those. So make sure you're just prepared for that. And, yep. Early arrival. We do allow early arrivals, but you must have prior approval. So you'll need to reach out to me with plenty of advanced notice. If you arrive earlier without this notice, you may be asked to find other accommodations until your scheduled arrival time, just so that we're good on our end, on the staff's end, and we'll make sure that you are all the preparations are good for you to arrive. So last part of this section is traveling to camp. There are 2 ways to get to camp. They're detailed in the guide, but there is basically either you're going to arrive along US 24, and then you'll be taking Ferguson Road to the north, and then you'll basically be wanting to make a turn to the east on 86th Street, or you're going to be coming from the north, which is kind of connected between Ozaki and Oskaloosa through KS 92, and you will be basically turning on Ferguson Road to the south, meeting the 86th Street there, and then there are 2 pictures of that, of what the signs look like from each side there. So, is there any questions as of yet?
Nope, it was just a thing about blue cards.
Good.
Crushing it.
Cool, we are crushing it. We're going to try and just keep going then. And like I said, this is recorded, so it'll stay on the Facebook page, and we'll also upload it as a YouTube link and publish that on the council website on our webpage. And so you can always come back and review all of this if you need to. But camp facilities. So we're going to just first start off with accommodations. If any scout or scouter needs accommodations, including, oh, I cut that off. That's embarrassing. Let's see here. But basically, yeah, if you need any accommodations of, oh, I see what I did there. Okay, no, I made it 2 lines on accident. Okay, yeah, if anybody needs any accommodations whatsoever regarding facility-wise, please notify me at least 2 weeks prior to your arrival. It just gives us time so we can actually make the preparations and what we need. There is a couple different types of accommodations. We'll get into that later. But the best way to reach me is email through that, and we'll get that taken care of and recorded. But this, yeah, so cool. Dining. So there are a few things that, the dining hall is going to be a very popular place with people moving in and out of there at least 3 times a day. Just some rules for the dining hall. Coffee will be available, but only to those who are over the age of 18. A thing that we want to make sure everybody knows is that a peanut butter and jelly bar will be available with every meal. So there will be peanut butter planned right now in the dining hall. And if that is a issue, we have a dietary restrictions form in the supporting documents as well. So you're going to want to click that and then send it to us as soon as possible. Like it's just a good rule of thumb, at least 2 weeks prior to your arrival. This will basically, if there's anybody with a deathly allergic peanut allergy, we will make sure that that gets all taken care of, and we'll make the correct accommodations for that. But just the basement of the dining hall for those people, for those of you that have never been there, been here, we're actually here right now. I don't know why I said there. There are bathrooms for both male and female, a kitchenette, and 2 classrooms, which is what we are in currently. The use of the kitchenette, which just has it has a stove, a fridge, sink, microwave. It needs prior approval from me or Josh to use. So we are going on to the trading post. The camp trading post, we have a lot of stuff in there. We have, merchandise, items, toiletries, crafts, snacks, beverages, ice cream, and the much sought after slushies. But please be mindful of the trading post hours and maximum capacity. Those will be posted on the door. The maximum capacity is just kind of now just so it's not overcrowded and people can move in and out freely. So just be courteous to the trading post people in there and the staff. On days where there is excessive heat warnings, we will be stopping the sales of all the sugary items. And this is just a quick note. We do sell pocket knives. For a scout to purchase a pocket knife, they have to have their totem chit or permission from an adult leader, and that adult leader has to be present with them making the purchase of the knife. We are not responsible for policing an individual unit policy or parents' wishes with the sale of pocket knives. So just for that to be known there. Okay, cool. Ice. Units are given 2 bags of ice every day, and a unit can request more through Brendan. But just please stay in contact with the camp commissioner for daily ice deliveries. And the kitchen staff may be also to help, but please be respectful of their time since they are busy for the most part. All right, internet access. FSR, we do have internet access here in 2 locations, the office and where we are currently in the basement of the Maybe Dining Hall. I'm guessing it's good because we are streaming. It works. So the password to these to the Wi-Fi, the password to both Wi-Fi locations are only given to adult leaders, just because we don't want the scouts being on any electronics. If outside of classwork, we have computers down here if they need it for classwork, and any one of us 3 will know the password, and we can give that out if necessary. So the shower houses, we have 2 shower houses available on camp, which is the west and central showers. Your unit can choose either one to go to. It's just mainly based on where your campsite's located at. Generally the campsites on the West Ridge are going to want to use the West Showers, and Central Ridge, there you go. The Central Showers are a larger facility, so it might be a walk. It might be a walk, but you might want to just use it just because it's in my opinion, a nicer facility. I think a lot of people also share that opinion, but we'll see here. Because it has more available shower heads and stuff. But the big note on this is please mind the signage on each entryway. So on your screen now, there's the one that says Youth Male, and this is the Central Showers. The Central Showers will always have a Youth Male and a Youth Female. Those signs cannot be changed. There is an adult area that functions for both male and females, but the sign outside is to indicate who is currently in or has at last entered the area. And the chain on the walkway signifies if there is someone currently occupying it. So if the chain is up on the adult side and it says adult male, that means there is currently an adult male in there. And if you are an adult female, you're going to have to wait for that to be clear in order to go in. You will change the sign to say youth adult female, and put the chain up. It is the responsibilities of these leaders to make sure that the sign is changed. We've been good with that in the past. So just make sure that we're gonna keep that going. So, and then the West showers, they only have 2 rooms. One is for youth, one is for adults. It is advised that at least one adult leader goes with their scouts at the West showers to uphold youth protection guidelines, and that has worked very well in the past as well. And then the chain signifies if there's currently somebody occupying that. So there will be ways to tell who is in each shower house and stuff. So please just make sure if you have that you're being mindful of the signs, and if you have questions when it comes closer to camp or you're at camp, that'll be easy to answer as well. So that's just a brief rundown of it. Laundry. There are no laundry facilities available during camp. Everyone is expected to bring enough clothing to last them the entire session. But we do have a lot of rain out here, or a storm just kind of just wipes us out essentially. Depending on how bad the situation is, there are the staff laundry facilities, but it needs you need prior approval from me in order to use that. But we're pretty flexible on that in case there is extreme weather. So next we're going into the Fix app, which is the system we used last year, and it basically replaces our paper system of writing something down and giving it to the ranger for if something is broken or needs repair. It's FIIX and then space CMMS on both the App Store on Apple and the Google Play Store. But the ranger staff will describe how to use it during the first leader meeting. So if you want to actually just download it now, so it's just on your phone, or we'll talk about it later. It is basically a app to just record what needs to be fixed if you see anything. So it's really cool. Campsite facilities. Each campsite has a latrine with 2 stalls, a urinal, a hand washing station, a flagpole for you to display troop, patrol, and other flags, and at least 2 picnic tables per campsite. The couple things that I have to talk about for campsite facilities is that we do not have electrical outlets within our campsites. There are other electrical outlets spread out in some program areas, the office, maybe dining hall, that leaders can you can charge your electronics. If a member of your unit uses a CPAP or other medical-related devices that require electricity within your campsite, please see the accommodations section, which basically just says notify us at least 2 weeks prior. We can work something out. And just another quick note to add is that the hand washing station in your campsite, it's connected to a water spigot, which is also they have connectors, right, for to connect one to the hand washing station and one to and then one for your actual water source for your campsite. So, camp tents. We do provide canvas wall tents. They're wall tents, right? Yeah, they're wall tents. Yeah, I don't know why I'm tired. But they are only available per request of the unit. So if you need them, there should be a place to put that on the registration. If you somehow either have skipped that part or you change your mind, just notify us at least 2 weeks prior to your arrival so we can get those tents in. We can get the leader and the supply tent set up and get all the canvas tents for how many scouts you need for that. But if you do request a tent, we'll put up a leader tent. The leader tent houses 2 leaders comfortably, and the supply tent will basically just have all of the scout tents in it, folded up and everything that needs to be set up, and that is for you to just put any supplies you need instead of having your trailer or something else. The scout tent houses 2 scouts, and it comes with a canvas tent, 2 metal cots, 2 sleeping pads, and a floorboard. And it's either notify us on the registration or by contacting me no later than June 1st. Sound good? The supplies we're going to give you at your campsite are going to be broom, disinfectant, Oh, I forgot to add another space in there. My goodness. And toilet paper, personal hygiene products such as like hand soap, toothpaste, shampoo, and all that fancy stuff. That's the responsibility of your scouts to bring or your unit to bring. Other supplies not listed may be available, just depending on what we have out here. But you should reach out to me if you have any questions on that as well, or on the thing. We're almost done with this section. Counseling services. We are not trained counselors, but us, or I should say professionally trained counselors, but the camp director, program director, commissioners, medic, and camp chaplain are available throughout the week to provide some sort to a certain extent counseling services by the request of campers. We're trained to help the scouts, the leaders, the volunteers have the best have the best possible experience at Camp Jayhawk. So we are, like we said, we're not professionally trained, but we want to make sure everybody has a good time so we can help out as much as possible. Lost and Found. Lost and Found is maintained in the camp office. If you find an item without an owner, bring it to the office. And then any unclaimed items are transported back to the scout office in Topeka. And then if they're not received, that's at the end of camp. And if they are not picked up at the scout office by the end of camp, then we donate them. And then last part of this section is off limits. The off limit areas, there are very few, but you can, if you're walking off camp, you cannot do that. So you cannot walk on the county road. The ranger house property line, you cannot step foot in the ranger's property. That is the ranger, that is not part of camp. That is the ranger's property. The staff area, this includes just basically the cabins and the shower house and everything else. The exception to this is, you can pass through the staff area if you're going on the shooting sports trail. Please don't go back into the kitchen of the dining hall. Unless if you need access to that for any sort of reason, please be escorted by the kitchen staff or one of us. Oh my goodness. And closed program areas. So please don't enter program areas if there are no program staff present. As the end of that one, and we're going to go on to administrative policies and procedures if we don't have any questions.
Nope, you're good. I was just going to add, in addition to the ranger house, also don't go into the maintenance area.
Yes, that is true. Yes, do not go into the maintenance area.
You'd have to go well out of your way to get there.
Yeah.
Just don't walk over there.
Yeah, so yes, the maintenance area is off limits as well. Okay, then we're going to keep rolling because I am just talking because, this is going to take the majority of the time unless Josh, you ramble. So, administrative policies and procedures. So the medical service. The camp medic is on call 24 hours a day and is in place for basic first aid and to evaluate emergencies. But the camp medic will be located in the welcome center, up in the office area. Has the big medic sign on the front. Units must provide their own transportation unless emergency vehicle is called for transport. And as we mentioned previously, the campsites don't have electricity. So if at all possible, please provide batteries for stuff like CPAPs and other stuff. Or if not, you just need to contact one of us. Medications. So a unit leader, so individuals or their parents or guardians are responsible for taking of scouts' prescription medication. The BSA does not mandate or encourage leaders to do so. So you need to, prior to arriving to camp, need to make sure that there are people designated for the prescription medications of your scouts. But it is recommended that each scout's medication is being placed in a labeled Ziploc bag with usage instructions and stored in some sort of lockbox at the campsite, preferably with the person that will be in charge of it. And each unit is responsible for providing that own lockbox or a way of keeping medication safe. But as you, the unit leader, you should consult with parents or guardians prior to camp to discuss medications, and the camp medic does reserve the rights to check all campsites and medications. Cool. Service animals. We do allow service animals in accordance with the American Disability Act. There is a whole list of stuff on the website that is listed both in the leader guide and on here. So please look at that for more information. Just the big thing is that emotional support animals are not service animals. So we do allow service, but not the emotional support. Cool. Dietary restrictions is a big one that we mentioned earlier. If anybody has dietary restrictions, there is a dietary restrictions form in the supporting documents, and please have that emailed to me at least 2 weeks in advance of your arrival to camp. This is just to ensure that every need can be met, be as specific as possible about the dietary restriction, especially if it is not a most common one like the peanut allergy and stuff. So if you need to provide alternative food options, your unit you can bring supplemental food options for that, and just request refrigeration space if you need to. But any other accommodation, especially by filling out that form, we'll give that to the kitchen staff, so the kitchen staff will know who all has dietary restrictions. So that is a big one. Just like I said, fill out the form and we'll get that taken care of. Emergency procedures. There is a very long list of emergency procedures on there. I'll just go over a few, but we recognize that scouting activities involve a certain degree of risk. In consideration with that, we have several procedures in place. If any emergency procedure needs to happen, Jefferson County Emergency Management is our go-to. And especially when there's inclement weather or other advisories in our area, that's who we get our messages from, so we know about that. Just kind of looking through the list. So we will have, once the leader will get here, the leader meeting, we'll get all of your phone numbers and we'll do a text system for basically from us to you. That's how we're going to get information out. Like if it's 3 a.m. and a storm's coming, we'll at least have a whole thing to notify you. We'll go over that during the first leader meeting. And yeah, there's just a bullet-pointed list on the leader guide that you can look through. And I won't go over any if you don't have any questions about it, but we'll get there eventually. Wildlife awareness. So just as a good rule of thumb, all wildlife should be left alone, not disturbed. If an animal does become an issue on camp, the ranger or I should be notified at that point. We do get a lot of mammals that could potentially be carrying rabies. We never know. So we basically just want to tell you to be aware of that. So that's why I don't touch any, cute little raccoons or possums or anything that you might find. And we do definitely have a reputation of having stray or abandoned dogs or cats wander onto camp. So since we don't know the animals, we need to be extra cautious about that. So just because it's a little puppy dog, don't be inclined to pet it because we don't know where it came from. And those should be reported as well. I will say the next 2 slides are showing spiders and snakes. So if you have a phobia, then I'm sorry. So be on the lookout for brown recluse or black widow. Those are the 2 most common venomous spiders. Do not disturb them and report them to us if they are seen. Just also general insects. Ticks and mosquitoes are very common. You're going to run into those a lot out here. So each camper should inspect themselves daily for embedded ticks and take precaution against bug bites. Bug spray, it is recommended that you don't use the aerosol bug spray because that is not environmentally friendly. So there are also several different types of wasps. If we should, prior to camp, be eliminating a lot of the wasp nests. So if you see one, please let us know, and we will come around and take care of that. And then the next one is snakes. The two most common venomous snakes found on camp are timber rattlesnakes and copperheads. These definitely should be left alone, and if it becomes a problem, let us know. Generally, they're going to want to do their own thing, so hopefully it won't actually become a problem. If it does, let one of us know, and we'll get out there and try our best to handle the situation, I guess. There you go. Fishing. So scouts and leaders are encouraged to bring fishing equipment and fish in their free time or the fishing merit badge. The creel limit is posted on the Ecology Lodge, and if you do want to catch and cook fish, if you want to use the kitchenette, just refer back to the dining hall section. You need prior acknowledgement from us in order to use the kitchenette down here in the dining hall. But the big thing is no one is allowed to fish in the swim area or on the boat dock. There are 3 different docks, I think. There are 3 different docks that you can use on the main lake, or there are the 2 ponds available for you to fish at as well. So the opportunity to fish on boats is available, but only during designated open boating times, and you have to have permission from the aquatics director or boat dock staff. Uniform and clothing. The Class A, which is now called the BSA field uniform, is required for both campfires and flag ceremonies. Activity uniforms, which were formerly known as Class B, which is scout shorts, scout-themed T-shirts, should be worn at all other times. Adults and youth need to make sure that you are wearing appropriate camping attire, and it is discouraged to wear non-scouting shirts, and tank tops are not appropriate attire. Your unit will be given the 2023 camping shirt during check-in, so you'll at least have one of your activity uniforms provided for you, and basically us 3 will have the final say on what constitutes appropriate clothing if that becomes an issue. Proper footwear. Open-toed shoes and 5-fingered/toe shoes and sandals, including Crocs and Tevas, are not allowed, except for in the shower and at the waterfront. This is it's a thing we battle every year where people want to wear their Crocs, but Crocs are not suitable for the outdoors when you're hiking a lot. Personal valuables. Valley Sky Reservation, we are not responsible for valuables for individual scouts and units while we're here. Just some tips and tricks. Put your name and unit number on everything, and advise scouts to bring as few valuables as possible. But just check the lost and found if anything goes. If anything goes missing. But please see the camp director, me, for like wallets, cell phones, the such. Okay. Youth protection policies. Everybody should be current youth protection trained. For anybody over the age of 18 and above, that is required for you to actually even be on camp. These camp, you must provide, your certification. That'll be in the registration, and it is expected that you familiarize yourself with the youth protection policies and stuff. And then there's a long list of policies in the leader guide that I don't want to take the time of going through all of these, but just the main majority ones is that the buddy system always has to be followed. Just always make sure each scout has a buddy, and they have to be within 2 years of each other. Make sure that 2 deep leadership, so that's with the 2 unit leaders. We're ensuring that is followed. And if you are with a youth, you need to make sure that you have 2 deep leadership, and you are not alone with a youth, or vice versa. A youth is not alone with an adult. And there are some other stuff there, and it's basic youth protection. If you need to familiarize yourself with that, just see the National Scout. Isn't it just like scouting.org? Yeah, scouting.org. So, cool. Child abuse policies. This is pretty straightforward. Everybody is required to report any child abuse or neglect, suspected or known, to me immediately or in the local authorities. Cool. Scouts First Helpline, that's just there if anybody needs it. It's a 24-hour helpline to receive reports of known or suspected abuse within Scouting. And that might put a youth at risk. And that's the number there, which is also in the leader guide. And now we're on to like camper safety. So camper identification. Every camper, both youth and adult, will be issued a wristband at the swim area during the check-in process. This is to ensure that we are getting that everybody on camp is supposed to be on camp. They are to be worn at all times. And if you lose one, please come up to the camp office and we get you a replacement after we verify that you are actually supposed to be on camp. And these wristbands are going to be color-coded depending on the swim test. And if you see anybody without a wristband, make sure that they go to the camp office immediately. Cool. Visitors. We welcome visitors. That this is only during the daytime. So this is people like parents or other family members. We'll have a visitor day, which we'll go over probably. I'm sorry, I'm not actually too sure what you do, actually, I guess, probably. I don't know. Yeah, who are you? Anyway, visitors are welcome for just the daytime, so they don't actually they'll have to check in at the office, and we'll have to wear a visitor badge. If they would like to eat in the dining hall with us, they need to purchase a meal ticket when they check in. And they need to comply with all FSR policies and procedures, including clothing, prohibited items, and stuff like that. And if it becomes a problem, we reserve the right to ask them to leave camp. Early departure. This is something that we need to take extra precautiously because we don't want any youth to leave without prior notice, and we need to make sure that they are going with the right person. There is a early departure form in the supporting documents that needs to be filled out when before you get to camp, and it needs to be brought with you to camp for check-in, and that is how we're going to make sure that everything is taken care of and everybody's going where they need to go. There's information there. It's a lot of information, but early departures will either be handled by me or if I ask one of them to do it if I am busy, and a unit leader must be with them while the person picking them up is leaving. And we'll get like a copy of the person's driver's license so we basically know who did that, and it's all just to protect the scouts. Cool. Cool. Prohibited items. This is pretty straightforward. Alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, pornographic material, fireworks, handguns, personal firearms, shooting equipment, fixed blade knives with blades longer than 4 inches. They all need to be kept in a sheath. And then personal bikes. I know some people like to have personal bikes out on camp with them, but that is just a safety thing. If that is an issue and somebody needs to bike around, let us know. The fire guard, you'll be given a fire guard in your welcome packet, and you just basically need to make sure that somebody is constantly on fire watch if you decide to have a fire in your campsite. We will provide fire barrels if that is needed. You just need to ask us first, and we just need to basically make sure that we are responsible for preventing any fires. Liquid and bottled fuel, they're only to be handled by leaders, and they're stored in a locked storage area within the campsite, so nobody can do that, but they are only used for the actual intended purposes of it, which is camp stoves, lanterns, and other similar appliances, as per the Guide to Safe Scouting. So if you have any questions on that, please look at the Guide to Safe Scouting with the liquid and bottled fuel section. Vehicles in camp. Only authorized vehicles are allowed in camp. All cars are supposed to be parked in the main parking lot, and the only time that this will be allowed is when a unit needs to park / get their trailer at their campsite during the check-in and check-out process. If for any reason you do need to drive on camp property, such as a handicap, injury, etc., you'll need to receive a parking permit from the camp office, which is one of us will issue that out. Smoking, The use of tobacco or vaping products by anyone under the age of 21 is not acceptable. Adults may use tobacco products, but only in designated areas away from all participants. So we are primarily a tobacco-free zone, and that's all buildings, trails, program areas. If you have any questions, we'll tell you where the smoking areas are once you are on camp. Quiet times. Everybody needs to be in their assigned campsite at 10:30 to 6:30. 10:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning. Not the vice versa. If scouts need to shower, say it's a late day and you don't get around to shower until after 10:30, or you wake up early to shower, if a youth scout needs to do that, please have them be escorted by adult leadership. It is expected that everybody at 11 p.m. needs to be quiet and courteous of other campers, because you will need to wake up early to get the flags. So unit leaders, you are responsible for making this policy, making sure this policy is followed. Electronics, cell phones and electronics are permitted. Just they need to be used safely and responsibly. Camera phones and anything with a camera on it cannot be allowed within shower houses or bathrooms or changing areas. There may be times that scouts might have to use electronic devices, such as like if they're taking pictures or they need to do research on a merit badge. But we will say that the scouts should not be on their phone, but it is ultimately up to the unit to decide the scouts' electronics use policy, and it is expected of our staff to tell the unit leader if there's any problems with electronics. General cleanliness is just make sure you're taking care of trash. We have 2 trash bins that you can throw that away or coordinate with Brendan, so he may be able to pick up your trash from your campsite. This is just to mitigate raccoons and stuff like that. And you will be provided with cleaning supplies for your campsite. And for health reasons, all scouts must be changed out of wet swimsuits before entering the dining hall. It's just common courtesy, I guess. And like I said, health reasons. Wow. Okay, cool. Great. And damage to campsites. It very rarely ever happens, but there is a way that we go about damage to campsite, which it will be through me and the camp ranger. We'll go through before and after. We'll mark if anything was damaged before you get here, and if anything looks like it's damaged after you leave, we will contact you about that. That's the end of the big section, which was the policies and procedures. I just want to make aware that there is supporting documents at the end of that. They're all linked in the actual document itself. But yeah, so I take it there's no questions?
No, but I'm going to ask everyone at home to say hi to your favorite member of the Key 3 on here. 1, to make sure that I know the chat's still working, and 2, because it's going to be funny either way. So
yeah, okay. So
let us know.
if you are watching at home, please say something, just so we know we're not skipping over your questions. But we'll take just a second because there is a delay.
Yeah. They're all going to be hi, Nathan, and that's okay.
That's okay, yeah. If you want to say hi to your favorite member of one of us, then please do that. But we'll just take a little tiny brain break here, and then Josh will be next for the program guide. It's crazy.
Indeed.
That is crazy. I can also check on my end as well.
Yeah.
I am getting hello on my end. There are a few hellos.
Oh dear. Is my stream bad? Okay, I got a hello. And a hello. A singular hello.
Gotcha. All right, well.
Also, if anyone was like me and you were keeping track of the K-State game, they did in fact lose by 3 to Texas. And it's
K-State.
didn't go to the KU at least. Who said I?
Okay, Josh, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here. You can take the microphone. just so we
Fancy.
I know.
Okay, so that was all the leader guide. I now get to talk about the program guide. Before we get into maybe some of the fun stuff, I assure you that is coming in 3 slides, it looks like. But first, let's talk about the check-in process. As we get closer to camp, we'll be giving you more and more information and reviewing it time and time again to make sure that you have everything you need and make sure that you are prepared for the check-in process. Basically, we're going to be at the picnic tables outside the camp office, and to that, you will want to make sure that you have your unit leader as well as an SPL. If you have an ASPL for a buddy, that is always appreciated. But yeah, you'll basically go to Nathan's table first, where I'll get some of the forms from you. And then you'll come to me, and we'll go over some of the program stuff, make sure everybody's enrolled in the right merit badges and all that stuff. I'll give you some information about a leader guide and an SPL meeting that I will be going over a little bit more later. And then at that time, we're going to make sure that all your all the scouts are with their campsite host, which is basically a member of the staff who will be checking in on you throughout the week, making sure you have everything you need. Basically, your campsite host is your liaison between the staff and your unit. So yeah, they'll be going off and playing some games while your unit leaders are doing your check-in process. Make sure you have, like we said, all forms with you for the main check-in, and then we'll also have the medical screening. Make sure you got all parts A, B, and C. Unit trailer. There will be a time designated for you where you will get basically a permit to drive on camp to go drop off your unit trailer. We'll have a lot of units coming in that day, so we'll need to try to limit the time that vehicles are on camp. So we want you to make sure you consolidate as much as possible so that we have as few vehicles going in as necessary. Before you go off and do that, though, we're going to make sure that you guys are going to get a unit photograph, just something that you'll get at the end of the week, a printout saying you were at Camp Jayhawk for that week. After that, while your unit leaders are going off and driving the trailers and any other equipment down, your campsite hosts will take your scouts to the swim docks where they will do their swim check. So we highly encourage them to have a day bag with water bottle and then swim gear, and if they need a change of clothes. Once they have completed the check-in process at the swim docks with their swim check, that is when they will get their wristband to show that they have completed check-in. Moving on, along the lines with check-in we'll be talking about the SPO and leader meetings. There will be one on Sunday night to make sure everybody gets going, and then there will also be more throughout the week. So the leader meetings will be led by Brendan every morning, basically after. We'll allow a little bit of time between when breakfast is dismissed and when make sure basically everybody can go off to their merit badges, and then they'll have the leader meeting. SPO meetings are going to be every day after lunch, and the 2 meetings will be parallel to each other so that we make sure that everything being communicated to your SPLs is being communicated with your leaders and vice versa. And so those meetings are to make sure that we are helping you guys, and you guys are letting us know anything that is just going on during your week. So yeah. Okay, I believe it is now schedule time. So this is one of the places where you're definitely going to want to go afterwards or right now and pull it up, because some of the screenshots might not be the easiest to view, but make sure you go take a look at that program guide and you can really analyze it closely. So the way the schedule works is Monday through Thursday, we have a basic overview schedule here. Friday will be it'll be open area, merit badge wrap up, and so that schedule is a little bit different. Basically, there's just different times throughout the day where it starts off if they need to do anything else remaining for their merit badge, they can do that at that time. There hopefully shouldn't be anything at that time, but if there's like a lot of rain, then we might have to move some things around. And if there's, especially with the shooting sports merit badges, if some scouts still need to shoot their qualifying targets, then they can do that during that time as well. And again, that's mostly in the morning. The afternoon is again more open time, and we've got some other things that I'll be talking about later. So the main thing with the schedule is there's a morning session for merit badges, and then there's an afternoon session for merit badges. And if we go on to the merit badge schedule, we can kind of see that there are some merit badges, like the ones in block 1 there. This is just the morning right now being shown. But there's some merit badges that last all week, and then there's others that are Monday, Tuesday, and some that are Wednesday, Thursday. Again, this is where I'm probably not going to read through every single merit badge because there's a lot. Some things I will call out, Baden Powell and our Project First Class, or our first-year camper programs. I'll be getting to that in a little bit. We also have the Paul Bunyan Award. So that's one of those things that's not the merit badge. It's an award where they're basically doing some conservation work and learning about some different type of tools that they might not have done in their totemship. Same thing on the afternoon merit badges. There is an open handicraft time scheduled for Wednesday to Thursday afternoon. There is no merit badge being taught at that time. That is basically if somebody wants to go do some woodworking, but they already have woodworking merit badge or leatherworking or basically anything at handicraft that they want to do, they can do that at that time instead of being in a merit badge. The thing that I would like to point out, down at the bottom, you will see the first aid / safety. Basically, well, let me take up a step back here. On both of these things, there's a key off to the side. I'm not going to show all the prerequisites and if there's an extra fee, but basically there's the following page after this in the program guide shows any information about requirements that we will not be doing at camp or anything that needs to be done before camp. Just a point of clarification, if it is a prerequisite, we really need that to be done before they show up to the classes. Some of those things are like earning their totemship before they can proceed in woodworking or wood carving. So the prerequisites have to be done before camp. If it is listed as a post-requisite, that generally means that it can be done either before or after. It'll just mean that we are not going to be doing it at that time. And again, there's some more details specific to the requirements in that table there. First aid and safety merit badge. You will notice that that is an all-week thing, but we've got both of them are being taught together, but first aid is the priority. We know that's Eagle required, and we know a lot of you want to do that, so we will be focusing on that, and then whatever time we have left over, we will be moving on to the safety merit badge. So it's kind of funny how they're both a plus sign,
Same thing.
but they are different merit badges. Okay, Baden Powell and Project First Class. These are our first year camper experience, and they're basically working on rank requirements. The Baden Powell program is working on the requirements from Scout to First Class, whereas Project First Class basically joins them halfway through the week where they're focusing in on those first class requirements. Both programs have a list of the exact requirements that we'll be both trying to hit for sure, and then if we have time in the program guide. Something to note, if they are in Baden Powell, they are basically doing Project First Class at that time too. So they only need to do one program or the other. And basically Project First Class is for those who are already at least second class who might still need some of those requirements. In both programs, we are focusing on the requirements best suited to be done at camp. So some of those include like some more of the hiking ones, the pioneering ones, and the water rescues. The water rescues are a big one that we always like to hit. Other advancement opportunities. These are not within the Baden-Powell or Project First Class program, but on Monday night, open to anyone, is a tote and chip class. So we like to do that on Monday night just because we know there are some who maybe have already advanced far enough that they may not necessarily need to be in Baden-Powell or Project First Class, but they still need their tote and chip. So we can do that on Monday night. And then the orienteering challenge on Friday afternoon, we make sure that that is a 1 mile orienteering hike or course that includes measuring the height or width of something, which covers, I think it's a first class requirement. It's either a first class or a second class requirement. So if they need to do that, we strongly encourage them to participate in the orienteering challenge. Okay, another thing that we are doing in the evening, the Cast Iron Chef Cook-Off. Basically, on Tuesday night, the open areas will be limited during that time, basically, because Tuesday, you guys are going to be cooking your meal. We will have some judges set up for you guys to cook a dinner and a dessert and enter those to the cook-off competition. You will be graded on Scout Spirit during the preparation process, taste, the presentation of the meal. How unique is your meal? Was it prepared by the Scouts? And did you incorporate the items provided by the kitchen? Which, this year, here is your list. Again, these are all in the program guide. And these are roughly about how the portion sizes that you'll get. It'll be basically determined on how big your unit is, and some of it is portioned out per individual. So the main thing that we want to stress for this is that you guys will be getting raw diced chicken this year. Basically, that comes from some leaders and scouts wanting to prepare something a little bit different, but not having the opportunity because their cooking was already chicked.
What?
Whoa.
Their
Cooking
chicken
was
was already cooked.
There it is. Oh, it's getting late.
It is getting late, apparently. So yeah, that's the big thing. We will have thermometers going around. And so yeah.
Said it.
Somebody clip that. Somebody confidence.
Wow.
So yeah, and then there's the ingredients for the dessert contest too.
Wait, sorry, the camera was covering that. Oh dear. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll give it a second. You're good. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Then we also have the Camp Honor Unit this year. We're making sure we're bringing it back. There's basically 4 sections of requirements to be a Camp Jayhawk Honor Unit. Step 1 is to get a score of at least 120 each day on your daily campsite assessment score, and I should mention that both the Honor Unit and daily campsite assessment score sheets are listed in the supporting documents for the program guide. The daylight campsite assessment is also the Golden Dustpan. Another thing to earn the Camp Honor Unit is do a service project that has been approved by camp management. And then third requirement is to make sure that the entire unit, both youth and adults, are present and on time for all the flag ceremonies and in the proper uniform. Requirement 4 is basically kind of a choose your own adventure. You need to complete 8 electives, and I didn't list them all out because there's a lot. But some of those include attending opening campfire, leading a flag ceremony, trying out for Friday night campfire, and then, like I said, there are some more on that guide. Something I will also mention about the program at Camp Jayhawk is Friday, especially Friday afternoon is when we open it up to invite more visitors out. We've got the model rocket launch for those doing SpaceX, space exploration, merit badge, and some other things going on Friday night that you might want parents to see. And then they're also invited to go to closing campfire. And yeah, do we have any questions about camp program?
Great. No.
No. I will add that in addition to Camp Honor Unit, we haven't finalized it yet, so I don't think it's in the supporting documents yet, but we will be bringing back the Scoutmaster Merit Badge. Similar to Camp Honor Unit, it's basically just a list of things to do that we think are going to make your stay at camp a little bit more interesting and also encourage you to get around to camp and see more people and do more things. So keep your eyes out for that. Like I said, we're still finalizing what that list is going to look like.
Okie dokie. Well, we are going to stay on for just a few more minutes, probably, in case there is anybody that would like to say anything. I know we only have a couple viewers, but the recording will probably end here.
We would like to say we put a lot of effort into redoing the program guide and leader guide, so make sure you go download those, or if you choose, download the Scoutmaster bundle and read through it. If you read through it, that's where you're going to learn a lot of answers to your questions that you might have. So yeah.
Yeah. I think we're probably pushing the Wi-Fi to its limit, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, the streams got a little bit worse. Since you went to all us, no slides.
Yeah, I know. So I think we're probably. I mean, I know the audio quality is probably fine, but we're definitely we're getting there. But so we're just gonna stay live probably for another minute or so, because I mean, I and then not to keep you guys too long, but yeah, that is one last thing to end it on, just because we forgot to put it in there. We are still looking for staff. For just a couple junior staff, but I think the main concern right now is just director staff. So if anybody out there is watching is interested, or if anybody knows of anybody that might be interested, please send them my contact information. And we're looking to hire some staff. I mean, our lineup right now is pretty stellar, if I do say so myself. So, yeah, please reach out with any questions you might have or whatever. But like I said, this video should stay up on the Facebook page. I will also send out a YouTube link to put out on pretty much anywhere that you might see. So like the website, the Instagram, and probably through email as well. But yeah, we're going to do another one. I think we put it as April 25th. So there's going to be a lot closer to camp. So we might have some more we might have more details to add. We might have some just news updates and everything else. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to add?
No one picked a favorite in the chat. Everyone was way too nice to all of us, and I do appreciate it, but also I needed someone to pick a favorite.
I did think of one other thing that I wanted to mention. Sprinkled throughout the program guide are some program director quick tips. Those are just some things that we have seen other units do that we think that we have liked and they have liked as well. One of those things, you're cooking for your cast iron chef cook-off on Tuesday night. One thing we might suggest is that the Dutch ovens that you will be using and any other cooking supplies that you might not necessarily be using throughout the week, you can put those basically in the trunk of a leader's car so that you don't have to get it from the campsites to the parade grounds where the cook-off competitions will be happening. We will also be Brendan will be going around that day making sure that you guys can get all your stuff there that you need, but it's always appreciated if the stuff is always closer to where it needs to be. So yeah.
Alrighty, I think we're gonna end it here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for watching. If this is a recording, so we will see you next time. Yes. Well, I don't think it's ended yet. Wait a minute. There we go. It's ended. Woo! Oh wait, we're still recording though.